Hello and welcome to this overview of the RetailX Europe Top 1000 360 report with a discussion on the wider e-commerce sector across Europe as well. The Top 1000 report is an incredible 116-page long report. It looks at the economic context for retail, as well as retailer performance, how shoppers buy, or even how they would like to buy. There is a link to download it in full at the end of today's webinar. But for this session in particular, we're going to put a real focus on the balance between in-store and direct-to-consumer operations. To allow me to do that, I'm joined by Giovanni Misti, SVP Managing Director Europe at Transaction Network Services, or TNS. Gio, before we dive into European e-commerce, tell us a little bit about yourself and TNS.
Yeah, welcome and good morning, everybody. TNS is one of the leading infrastructure service provider in connectivity and payment around the world. We operate in over 30 markets and we serve 102,200 between payment service provider, acquirers, and retailers in the country we play.
Excellent, thank you. So while on this webinar, we don't have time to go through the full 1000 list, I thought it was important to showcase the top 100, and not simply because it fits nicely on one page. Apple, Argos, H&M's, IKEA, Screwfix and Zara were all ranked elite for 2024. There is a range of these retailers profiled in the full report that includes financial results, web visits, store numbers. They all play part in the equation, with performance across the RetailX metrics explored in the wider report. These leading retailers are a great representation of how many sectors are excelling in the European retail space. Leaders in each of these sectors are retailers, brands, and marketplace that most effectively reflect shoppers' needs. The consumer view is a massive part of this report, and we look at a survey of nearly 10,000 people across 12 languages to get a view of that. A big thing is how often shoppers now head online. The largest group of European shoppers turning to the sites across 5 key European markets are showcased here. 47% of shoppers in Germany say they now buy online more than once a month, as do 45% of shoppers in France. It's the UK there's a real drive for e-commerce, with shoppers turning to websites more than once a week at 37%. In the Benelux, they're likely to shop more than once a day, but they're also 2% never buy online. Giovanni, how is this change in consumer habits impacting retailer operations?
Yes, I think that e-commerce, digital commerce, social commerce are the state of the art nowadays. Maybe what is surprising, it is the performance that in-store sell is today. We are back to and even better than pre-COVID. What is changing or what need to be considered is the expectation of consumer to have the seamless experience whatever channel they use to buy. This is, of course, adding complexity in the operation of all brands. We see this in our day-by-day business, being involved in payments with many of the top brands around the world, where digital commerce and online commerce are those that set the standard. Consumer expect to find the same type of payment they use on the web in the store.
Excellent. That's a really interesting point, and we will touch on later the sort of blending of in-store and direct to consumer. That word experience is so important though, Giovanni, and there is so many reasons shoppers are heading online when they can't really get that physical experience that they're looking for in store. Home delivery is a massive reason why people are heading online. You're also seeing people looking for a better deal, or perhaps sort of just the time saving element. Some also use it for research before heading to stores, and they like the security of ordering online and clicking and collecting from a store location. As we can see from this chart, it's really important, that ability to order something you want online, but then still have the flexibility to pick it up in store. This click and collect will benefit the shopper, of course it will, but Giovanni, for the retailers, is this actually creating a challenge around the infrastructure and the systems, whether that's payments or different infrastructure that you touched on?
Of course, this convergence between digital and physical oblige all the system to perform always at the top level. We see again, I refer to our day-by-day experience in our core business, which is providing connectivity and payment to retailers, where a down of this infrastructure can cause damages much deeper than the single hole in the service itself.
And so what can retailers do? Like maybe a practical example from you that you've seen. What can they do to manage these challenges and to make sure there's a seamless connection across all their touch points?
Of course, infrastructure always much more robust and up to date. TNS offer himself as an expert able to do complex easier.
Excellent. And there's another facet here that's quite interesting. We're seeing as technology develops that it's not just as simple as going into store. There's smart parcel lockers and automated systems that allow consumers to shop online and then on the way to their train station, or maybe even connected to a grocery store, there's a locker. Just where I am locally, we've got one brand of locker in the train station, we've got another at the convenience store and another at our big supermarket. This ability to collect without even having to deal with someone, very much like a self-service, has seen consumers across certain regions really pick up on that. Lockers in the Nordics especially, where it's connected to sort of the multi-mobility infrastructure, 78% say the option of collection is very important and 30% say it's important. In France, that's 74% of shoppers really see the value in this option. Germany is a country where it doesn't matter as much. We're only seeing around half saying it's important and 10% very important. When you're dealing with perhaps a third-party technology such as lockers, a click and collect option in store, and then a D2C option, how can retailers balance the connectivity between all these systems, but also the customer experience across all of these?
Yes, I go back to the concept of seamless experience between channel, and not talking just about channel of sell, but also any channel of interaction between consumer and the brand. In this specific case, I'd like to highlight two very important elements: the digital integration between physical and digital, okay? Like offering to your consumer the opportunity to track the order. So you know where the order is, and you can go to the store or to the locker just about when the goods or the service you're looking for has been ready to be purchased. The other, for example, is providing geolocalization between the position of the consumer and the locker or the store where the goods need to be collected. The other big element is the, again, effectiveness and performance of the system. For example, we expect that the people that like to collect in lockers are those that are fast and quick and they don't like to have too much interaction. So everybody can understand if the system is down, this will impact the customer experience, needing to interact with someone on the phone or in the store. That is probably the reason they didn't want it to go in store and they prefer to buy and to collect through a locker.
It's that sort of needing to call customer services when you selected the locker must be so frustrating. And whether it's an issue with the locker or the carrier, that is going to impact a retailer. And unsurprisingly, there's certain sectors that consumers still like to go to physical stores. Fashion is, of course, a huge one because of the touchability of things. We're seeing, you've touched on that customer experience. Of course, in luxury, that is going to be increased furthermore. And people are still going to grocery stores to do their physical shopping. The fashion balance, it is people going to stores and still shopping online. It changes across regions. Their shoppers in France are doing both. They're doing both online and in store, 38%. Benelux countries, it's 40%. Here in the UK, where I'm based, a lot of shoppers are still mostly like to buy fashion in physical stores, with only 34% doing it online. That is completely different from our Nordic neighbours, with 56% shopping for fashion online. I don't know if there's a trust element there or what's driving UK shoppers to physical stores. When it comes to groceries, and this may simply be because you want to browse for your evening meal, or because you like the physical layout of the store or the convenience of it, German shoppers are still going to physical grocery stores 72% of the time. In France, that's 64, in the Nordics, 62. UK and Benelux, it's more evenly split across the channels. That might be a reaction of COVID and shoppers getting used to having things delivered at home and not wanting to give it up on that convenience. For physical stores, the balance of online shopping is a challenge. These shops are going through massive changes and, in some cases, putting huge investment into their physical stores to drive footfall to their branches. Giovanni, how can retailers keep up? How can they be hyper modern? And is there, in fact, challenges around hyper modernization?
Yes, we live in a very fast and quick world. Not innovation are good for everybody. The risk is to increase the complexity, increase the operating cost without bringing the benefit and the value to their customer. To answer your question, we suggest to consider two best practice between many. One is keep and seed innovation culture, but which has to remain customer centric.
Excellent. Is
The
there,
second,
oh,
yes.
no, continue. Sorry to cut you off.
The second, of course, is leveraging relationship and partnership with experts in technology, especially around services. In these ways, retailers and brands can reduce the risk of quick obsolescence and very long-term return of investment.
Excellent. And as we go forward, Giovanni, is there any other points that you want to stress to retailers trying to deal with that e-commerce and in-store balance?
Yeah, it's a complex world. It's not just retailer. Any business, again, is very quick, and there is new threats in the landscape. So the relevance of data protection and compliance are also elements that need to be considered. We living in a hyper-connected world. A bridge in one can really impact all the business of many other. So again, security and compliance need to be considered as any other fundamental elements on a success in a success business.
And when dealing with that complexity and these challenges, whether it's around data security or payments, is it about having the right technology or even the right technology partner to help retailers deal with that complexity?
of course, but it's a mix of things. There is no one receipt for everyone. Of course, again, matching the quick run of the business today with external experience give to anybody the opportunity to focus on their core business. Everybody live with scarce resource. Why spend the resource in something that is not your core business, where somebody can help you to do it better?
Excellent. That's such a lovely point to finish on. Giovanni, thank you so much for your insight today. We have popped on this final slide. Giovanni has kindly allowed us to pop his LinkedIn details on there. You can also find out more information about TNS using that link. To download the full report, we've included the link there, but under the Research and Data tab of internetretailing.net is the easiest way to find it. As I said, this report is 116 pages long. We couldn't put it all into a webinar today. There is a full 360 regional e-commerce breakdown, a look at the attitudes to sustainability, that's both consumers and retailers, the role of the European Union in e-commerce. We touched on it a little bit today, but next level digital commerce and the role of marketplaces in European e-commerce are amongst some of the other key trends in that report. Do download the full thing. I don't know if you're going to read a whole 116 pages, but there is a nice key at the start of it to find exactly what you're looking for. For now, though, thank you for joining us.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Giovanni.